What's up, guys? So this is my first Realm Royale YouTube video, and the reason I'm doing it right now is because this is my first solo win, and I've decided I wanted to do a little bit of an analysis of this game because I did play 150 games of solos without winning any single one, and I managed to finally win one yesterday, followed by 2 more solo wins. And this is to know that I've won a lot of squad games and a lot of duo games, but I had never won a solo game. Not necessarily because I am just a bad player individual, like as a solo. It's just solos take a different mindset than duos and squads, as you do not have someone that you can strategize with. The first thing I would just want you guys to know is when you're gonna go into every single one of your games that you want to win, do not go in with the mindset of just winning, because that is so vague and you are still so far away from the win, because there are still a lot of players left as soon as you land. So what you should go in with is with the feeling to fight and not to win. So by that I mean, get ready to land, get a gun, and start shooting instead of focusing in those last few steps that you're going to take on the last 1v1. Second, always make sure that you have all your slots filled, and by that I mean have 2 guns and 1 ability, because you already come with the movement ability, so the ability to you know, deal damage, or an ability to detect where the person's at, whichever ability you want to use. But just have 1 ability, because in this situation you're going to see how that matters so much. As she shot me, she missed her shot on me, which allowed me to actually shoot her, throw my concussion mine and throw her far enough where she's gonna allow me to actually heal up at the same time that I'm reloading, so that it gives me enough time to reuse my ability once more and finish the chicken. A lot of people will forget to switch their weapons when they're in the middle of a fight. That is something I struggled with a lot, and I still do, but I am getting better at it. And I think that was one thing this game that saved me in a lot of fights, because if you're fighting, for example, with a slug at a long range, it might be a good fight, but as soon as that person gets close, and if you happen to miss just 1 slug shot, that could easily be 4 heirloom shots that person can put on you, which that would be far more greater damage than your 1 slug shot if you would have hit it. So think about that whenever you get into a fight, and try to be aware of switching your gun when you get into a fight. Now, when you're going for a box, always be aware that there might be someone going for that box as well. Just as in this situation, the mage was going for the box. But because I took it a little bit slower than she did, I managed to get a couple shots on her before she actually managed to get away. In this situation as well, I just want to bring out the 4th tip, which is always let your opponent use their movement ability first before you use yours, like I just did. She used her sword up to the rock, but the first mistake she did was to get dropped from the rock once I hopped on there, because she knew that sometimes having a fight with a warrior close range is not the best option. Especially, she did not know if my secondary weapon was a axe, because I never pulled it out, so I would understand her dropping from the rock. But you're gonna easily win a fight if you have a higher ground. But like I said, if I would have used my jumping ability right as she used her sword ability, I wouldn't have been able to get on that rock, and she would have won that fight fairly easily, because she did have a fire crossbow, which that's a great weapon, and it's really hard to lose a fight when you have a fire crossbow. If you're fighting someone with a sword or anything else that doesn't involve a blink or roll where they have a faster cooldown time, then always wait for them to use their ability, because then they're gonna have to wait 11-12 seconds at most if they don't have a good like a purple or a green movement ability. So that's gonna help you out to have an advantage on them. And now it works the other way, but for warriors, if you use your movement ability, you are really at a disadvantage, because the warrior weapons are close range weapons when it comes to epic weapons. So if you don't have a movement ability, there's no way you can get close to the person, and which means you're gonna have less of a chance to actually killing the person. That is just a little tip that I had learned from watching a lot of pros and a lot of I guess content creators or streamers. And you're gonna also see that I let the box guide my way, and by that I mean I will mark it on the map, and that is just gonna determine where I will go next if I don't find anyone else to kill around me. I am going to get third party right after this fight, and a lot of people are going to do that. You just have to expect that to happen sometimes, and you are going to do it to other people because this is a battle royale, and third party might be the best way for you to get kills or also move on forward in the game, because that is like getting two people out of the game without any issues, because that means the person that won the fight between the 1v1 has a lower HP, and that lets you go ahead and third party. But this coming to tell you guys that repairing your armor first before repairing your HP is the way to go. Why? Because then when the enemy shoots at you, they realize that you have armor, and they're gonna think that you're at a full HP and at least have some type of armor. So they're not going to push you right away or very aggressively, since they're gonna be thinking, all right, well, this guy has a fairly decent amount of HP and armor, so I can't just go ahead and rush him and take some, damage. So I am gonna be replaying this third party fight, just because the other thing I wanted to mention was to also be aware of the cooldown time. I cannot emphasize more on this, because if you are aware of your cooldown times for your abilities, then you're gonna have the best combos that you can use. And in this fight, you're gonna notice it because I do use my Fire Blast like once or twice in this fight, but I think twice at least, because that would be the proper use of the ability, since it's every 5 seconds. And so as you see, I use it once, I shoot a couple times, switch my weapon, don't have time to reload because I know I'm gonna be shot if I reload, and then I do it again and I get the kill. It's fairly easy, wasn't too hard of a fight. I did take some shots. The person I fought actually gave me a pretty good fight. I just was more aware of what I was using, I guess, and I used it more at a timely manner. Now for this next fight, right after this third party, this guy is trying to shoot at me, but if you notice, I am moving in a zigzag position. So by that I mean all the way through me from being back there and healing up, I am moving in a zigzag motion, which means left to right. Why? Because first of all, he has a potion launcher, and this could work with any other weapon as well, but because he has a potion launcher, he has to make sure that he hits his shots. But it's really hard to aim with a potion launcher, especially when you're not at a high ground, and hit your shots and the person in front of you is moving from side to side, which is going to give you an advantage, and it could be a lot of help if you want to try to avoid to use your movement ability. So here's a perfect example. Never expect no one to be behind you, just because as you can see, the zone is fairly close to me, and I basically have spent most of my game in Northport, which I would say maybe there's no one behind me, but that is not necessarily true. You always want to double check and make sure that no one is forging, especially if the forge that you were just at is one of the last forges in the map, as you're noticing. I always like to double check that, because if I do so, then it tells me that most people might actually be coming still from that area. And alright, so here I'm fighting the hunter, and in this situation I'm the one who was third partying, and I managed to kill the chicken. So as you can see, this chicken is actually very wise, because she's trying to run away from me, but you have to be the chicken. Be the chicken, not the human. Because look, in that situation, I managed to know where she was gonna go to try to run away from me. So instead of going and running right behind her, I just expected her movements. That is something that a lot of people will just have a second nature of, but not a lot of people will realize that it's not that hard to anticipate a chicken movement. And sometimes if you do that, it could save you the person from standing back up and then killing you. Because trust me, it has happened to me a lot. And the more you practice that of being the chicken and not the human, the more you will secure your chicken kills, especially if they have a rune that makes them faster or revive quicker. That's why you want to make sure you can anticipate those chicken movements faster than just going behind them around corners, because that's gonna be your hardest bet to actually kill them. So my tip number 11 is actually not too crazy, but this is something I always do in a game, and I've always done it in the past games that I didn't win, which honestly helps me a lot to be placed in the top 2. I understand a lot of people will come at this video and be like, well, why are you playing so scared? Why are you going for kills and stuff like that? Because I am not trying to raise my rating. First of all, I'm not a master player, so there's no reason for me to raise my rating. Now, if I play squads, yes, I do care about getting a lot of kills, so it counts for my master rating. But at this moment, I don't have a master, so I have to first win games. And in this situation, all I was trying to do is win. So if you're trying to win, this is a good strategy, and it is to open the circle and what I call the small circle, and start pinging all around the circle, so you know where the highest ground is, and kind of just get familiar with your surrounding and kind of ping where you want to go, right? So in there, I pinged a lot around because I was trying to decide which was the best spot for me to be placed in order for me not to be exposed, because there are 5 people left and it's a fairly small circle with a big chunk of wide openness right in the middle. Now, the next thing you're gonna want to do is to stay low. Like I said, this is for winning. This isn't, you know, I'm just trying to help you guys know how you can get a win. I'm not helping you guys getting frags and stuff like that. If you guys want crazy frags and stuff like that, go see Mouse. Mouse is a great person for that. He has the most skills in this game. So now I'm struggling getting through a window, but that's okay. And I do realize the circle is there. I'm going to ping it just so I know more or less to take a look at where I'm going to end up, and then I'm going to make sure I'm going to stay as low as possible. So by that I mean you're going to crouch, and that will be my 12th tip. Stay low, move around, and just make sure that there's no one sitting in the corner. Before last tip, which is when the final fight starts, don't be afraid to get as close as you can without being noticed. Now, why do I say without being noticed? This is for the win, right? So you want to try to be that third party, right? As bad as it sounds, if you want to win, you got to play it smart, right? Now, if you are trying to do ratings for your master rank, then I would recommend you to hurry up because you only got 4 people to kill. But in this situation, you know, try to get as close without being noticed. Get as close in the circle. Me, obviously, because they shot me, and so I'm gonna back off because I don't want to become the person that's about to get third party, but the person who's gonna third party. So now I was gonna heal up at least once, and not gonna heal up fully, because if not, I'm gonna allow that person to also heal up, and I don't want that. So in this situation, guys, my last tip: when you're in the last 1v1, believe in yourself. If you've won your fights before, you can win against the person in front of you. And the reason I say that is because I am very shaky, and that's because I knew I was gonna win it, and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. My reaction was just crazy. I finished with 9 elimination, guys, and I just cannot explain how the feeling was of winning that game. And I really hope this helped a lot of you guys. I think this is gonna help mostly people that are fairly new to the game or have struggled with winning a solo game. Because I know the game is still fairly new, it's still in an alpha. And for those that are experienced players, I know I have a couple friends that are like pros and you know, streamers that are probably gonna watch the video and really not learn anything from it, or maybe be like, oh hey, that's cool, like, you know, I never realized I did this without even noticing that I was doing it, you know, and yeah, so I hope you guys take the tips. And I know the video is a little bit long, but thank you again for watching, and I'm gonna try to shorten it as much as I can. I have no clue how long this video ended up to be, but thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys would like to have more of a detailed video, that'd be awesome, because I can do that as well for other videos, because that will be less trouble for me, and I can actually get to talk through a full game. But I wanted to make the first one a little bit shorter, so that I can just get through the points and all the 14 tips I had for you guys. Thank you so much, and have a great day, guys.